Before the food, I started like fine tuning my social media. We get on our phones and scroll like first thing in the morning, right before we go to sleep, or on a break from work or something like that. So it actually has a deeper impact because like you're disarmed in a way. So it can like seep more into the subconscious, get seep more into like your energetic body. So it's just like, I feel like, being mindful about what it is you're seeing, who you're following, like what you want to be seeing, how you want to feel when you get on your phone.
Welcome to Shaping Freedom. These conversations are about how freedom is actually formed, what we inherit, what stops working, and the choices that change how we live and lead. I'm your host, Lisane Basquiat. Today, I'm sitting down with Malcolm Regisford. He's a former Division I athlete and the founder of Tapped In Wellness. And he's also the author of Tapped In Wellness, Lasting Performance and Health Through Mindful Living and Eating. And I encourage you all, even before we get started, buy the book and follow him online. And make sure you're not hungry when you follow him online, because I'll explain why in a moment. What struck me about your work, Malcolm, isn't just that it's plant-based. It's really the order of it. You don't just start with food. You start with presence. You start with awareness, and with asking those who are listening, watching, and reading to notice where you are before you attempt to optimize anything at all. And that's one of the things that actually drew me in to I want to have a conversation with this man about that. As a former D1 athlete, you understand performance, but this book suggests something deeper, that lasting performance comes from consciousness first and not control. So today, we're going to create a conversation about identity beyond achievement, what it means to optimize your temple, inherited definitions of health, and how someone moves from discipline to alignment.
Let's do it. I'm so excited.
Let's do it.
Yes,
Let's
is
do
my
it.
kind of talk. I'm ready to
Oh
chop
my
it
goodness,
up.
you
Yes.
have no idea. Here we are. So, first of all, let's talk about, if you don't mind, can we start with you being an athlete?
Yeah,
Do you want to tell a
absolutely.
little bit about your story and
Yeah.
kind of give us a little bit of context around that trajectory?
Yeah, so I mean, like, without my journey in athletics, like, I don't even know if I'm here speaking with you today. I mean, it was integral to like my whole life journey. So I was an athlete for my whole life. Played a bunch of sports: baseball, basketball, football, but basketball was the one that I always found myself coming back to and really enjoying, having fun with, and eventually thinking that, okay, I want to take this seriously. Like, I want to, play in college. I want to earn a scholarship. Back then I wanted to play professional. So that was like what started my whole path and instilled this inner discipline within me, and like these skills of just like knowing how to get things done, pushing yourself, but also staying like I said, disciplined and like regimented along the way, just implementing structure and upholding that. So that was a big part of my life, and that's what eventually ended up leading me to where I am now with my journey in health. But it took a big divergence in order for me to like really understand it. Essentially, like having my identity as an athlete sort of crumble is what prompted me to like look at my life differently. It wasn't until then that like I really understood what it meant to like actually feel into the body and understand it. Before I had even introduced food, it, like you said, it was about the presence and the consciousness first. So the journey of athletics played into all of that.
What did success look like to you back then?
Back then, I mean, success was really tangible, or that's what my viewpoint was. Success had to be tangible. Success was winning a game. Success was scoring a certain amount of points. Success was achieving a certain status or going to a certain school or playing a certain way. And that's what I derived all my worth from in that sense.
So what happened to take you from being an athlete, or your plan to be an athlete, to doing what you're doing today, or to the way of thinking
Right.
about your life and how you're showing up today?
Well, it essentially started because, like I said, my identity as an athlete was sort of, in a way, like taken away from me. I had an injury going into my junior year of college that I had to have surgery on and like set me back. I was spending all my energy and time trying to recover, but I wasn't like healing in the best way.
Mm.
And the prescribed, method of, rehabilitation wasn't really working for me. So, and on top of that, I came back a little too early, like trying to get ahead of it, and ended up playing at maybe 50 or 60% of my full self throughout the year. So in doing that, so that sort of complicated my relationship with my team and my coaches, particularly my role on the team. So my role was dissolving in front of my eyes. Like my relationship with the coaches was dissolving. My physical health was dissolving, like all at once. So it was really overwhelming. And then not having the support that I felt I needed at the time. I'm away from home, away from my family, like across the country. So it felt really isolating. And there were times I really wanted to quit. Like I called my parents. I'm like, I want to come home. Like I'm done with this. Like this is too hard. But they encouraged me to stay with it. And, they spoke power into me and let me know that I could make it through this difficult time. And it wasn't until then that I started to like actually shift and sort of take power back as to how I was feeling, because like I said before, my definition of success was tangible and like external.
Mm.
So then I had to start focusing on the internal, like how I was really feeling, what it meant to me to take ownership over like my feelings on a day-to-day basis, because I felt I was getting up and having to like fight against all these factors every day, the coaches, my health, the distance, the isolation, all these things. And that made it like a chronic state of stress for myself, which wasn't conducive
Which
to
isn't good for your body.
Yeah,
Healing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So once that sort of took shape in my psyche, that's when things started to shift.
What was the hardest thing for you to release during that time? Because here you are, like you're working so hard to
Yeah,
do this thing that you were intending to do,
yeah,
and your body is doing its own thing,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So there had to be some things in there that you had to teach yourself differently or program differently
for
within
sure.
yourself. What were those?
I mean, the biggest one was seeing myself outside basketball. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was the biggest one, because that was literally my whole life. Like I wouldn't have done half the things I've done in my life if it wasn't for sports and
Mm-hmm.
just like what I was trying to do for myself. So to finally think about, okay, well, maybe this is not really what I really want anymore, or I'm starting to understand myself beyond that role and that identity. That was difficult. While I was in it for sure, but then shortly after, when I decided to step away from the game, that was also like a really big thing to do, because that's all I had known to that point. So I say that would be the hardest one.
That was a hard decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I was always known as the basketball player in
Yeah.
in the family and in my circle of friends, and there's a clear like linear progression that you have as an athlete. It's like, oh, you play well in high school, you go to college, you go professional. Like this is what everybody expects of you,
Mm-hmm.
as well as what you expect from yourself. So to just like have my mind set on that consciously and unconsciously throughout my whole life, then over a span of a few months to like have that all fall away, it was a bit like disruptive to say the least. But
Yeah.
here we are.
So I started reading your book, and in the very, very beginning of your book, you open the book with don't just jump on in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Slow yourself down for a moment.
Yeah.
How did you, like, what are I guess let me take a step back for a moment. How did you get from that to deciding that you were going to focus on being more conscious
Mm-hmm.
and doing the things that you're doing today? Like, how did you make that shift?
That whole thing. I mean, this from stepping away from the game and adopting more of like a conscious, health focused lifestyle was really sort of organic. You know, for one, when I was in all of that stuff at school, um, that was the only way for me to like maintain my like regulation.
So this
Yeah.
is what you were doing before.
Yeah, in some way, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, it started with the consciousness first, and just like taking back my ownership over my feelings and my environment and stuff like that, which sort of snowballed into the food and how that affects the body, and how
Mm-hmm.
how food is energy and how that impacts healing. So with that, I was thinking about that for getting myself back. And we have a family friend who was an NBA trainer at the time, and he's vegan, and he was like, you should try this and just like see how you feel. So I started experimenting. I felt the resonance in my body like almost right away, like after a couple weeks, like felt a big shift, like recovering faster, less soreness, mental clarity, like more vital energy. And I even tried to go back to eating like just regular before, before, and my stomach was in knots. Like I did not feel good, and I that let me know I'm like, okay, wow, like there's real power to this, and like my body's telling me I can't do it anymore. So
Yeah.
that's what sort of made me like stick with it, and continue it up until now.
So it's like you were in conversation with your body because we all are,
Yeah,
but we're
absolutely.
not always tuned in
Right.
to that station,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
And I wasn't as much either. Like you're as an athlete, you're always like kind of conscious about what's going on with your body on some level. So I think I had that relationship sort of established in some way, but introducing more, just a deeper awareness about it just helped to like refine that whole relationship and enhance it. So
Hmm. What did wellness look like to you before that moment and after?
I don't know if I was really even thinking about it. I just, as long as I was like healthy enough to play
Mm.
and just be doing what I was always doing, like as long as I wasn't sick, like that's all. That's as far as I thought about it. I was not thinking about like the holistic picture and like how much really plays into your well-being, whether that's physical, whether that's mental, whether that's spiritual, all these sort of things. So going through the my journey, I've understood it to be a lot broader, a lot wider, and more in depth than just your physical body.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I see that's what you talk about in me looking at your voice on your platform and your book. And it's really about like paying attention to what you're consuming,
Hmm.
what's going in,
Yeah.
right? As a voice for a lot of people, what is it that you believe we're consuming that leads us to being unwell?
I mean, I think to start, it's just like there's so much out there to consume to begin with. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of stimulation, there's a lot of input. We didn't even get a chance to really like think about what we are consuming because there's something else. There's a new album that's coming out. There's a new TV show that's on. There's a event with family and friends. There's, all these things. So we're sort of bombarded with a lot of input on a daily basis. So rarely people like get a chance to just sit with themselves or be removed from, you know, the daily grind that they can establish that relationship and have that conversation with themselves. I think the
Hmm.
closest we've had to that at a mass scale was like the pandemic.
For everybody.
Yeah, like everybody had to sit down,
Yeah.
everybody had to be, isolated, all these sort of things. So I feel like that's the biggest opportunity we had for that since I could remember. But I think it starts with just being so stimulated with everything that's out there and not giving yourself the chance to carve out the relationship with yourself. So it takes a concerted effort to take the time for yourself, like set aside, just like how you structure everything else, structure in time to, be with yourself, structure in time to like establish that relationship with your body, all these sort of things. So
What does a day in the life of Malcolm look like?
it's very, it's very chill. It's pretty much the same every day. I mean, I get up, um, give myself a bit of time in bed to just like simmer before I get up and start doing stuff. Typically I'll start with some movement. That's one thing as an athlete I couldn't shake. It's just like that regiment of moving
Hmm.
your body constantly. Um, so get some movement in, do a meditation, like recover, then get into like whatever work I have to do for that day, whether it's planning or filming or editing content. Um, talking with my team and handling admin stuff. And then, I have like my social time with family and friends. I always prioritize like having time for myself, at some point in the day, usually at the end of the day, like, and just like sort of turning my brain off, like letting my body like land at home, and relax from the day. Typically that's like in the form of listening to some music or like watching a show of mine or sometimes more meditation depending on the day. So it's really, I try to keep things as like as structured as possible so that my routine can be sustainable and I can like stay regulated
Yeah.
through everything that's, coming in because being a creator, like your schedule is not so fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fielding a bunch of things on the daily. So to carve out that time for regulation is huge for me.
So you wrote this book, and again, it's not just about food, it's about a whole way of being. What is it that you want people to know? Like, what was this? Why'd you write this book?
Well, one, I just understood how powerful the process was of just like we said before, establishing that relationship with your body and mind
Mm-hmm.
can be and is. And I'm like, wow, if more people just had the opportunity to like to do it for themselves, like what could happen. And so I just try to offer that in the most like approachable way possible.
Mm-hmm.
I know people get thrown off, or they have their own thoughts about me being vegan, or like trying to push that, or when it's not really about that. As much as I think it's great that people would adopt a more plant forward lifestyle, I know that's not the answer and the only way you can be fully healthy and happy. So I just want it to be approachable. I want to push forward just the thought process of what would it look like if I took more time for myself? What would it look like if I started to pay attention to how this food is making me feel? What if I, paid attention to all the things I'm consuming on a daily basis? Like, how does that make me feel? And how does that impact the way I'm interacting with others? Like, it's all encompassing, and pushing forward that sort of question that people can explore for themselves, I think is the reason why I have the platform I do, and why I wrote the book, and what I want people to take away ultimately.
Yeah, it seems like, from what I'm observing, like you're paying attention,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not all paying attention.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there are some people who get up and 5 years have passed, 10 years have passed,
Yeah.
right? And I think what I see so valuable about your platform and your voice and the work you're doing is that you're helping people to just take a beat.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just take a beat, give yourself a minute, and I think that's important information for people who want to know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you carry with you, just in the few moments that we've been sitting together, you have an incredible calmness about you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You are in alignment with the way you present online, and with the voice that you have in your book.
Mm-hmm.
And so for those folks who want to know how to get from being a person who is just at the effect of everything that they're consuming,
Right.
or who maybe doesn't feel the alignment with their unconscious or subconscious mind, or people who don't have rituals
Mm-hmm.
to kind of support them.
Yeah.
Like you expressed having had that, right, through the discipline you got being an athlete, and then through your healing process and where you are now. Like, what could a person do
Yeah.
to get themselves onto that trajectory?
Yeah. I just think it's powerful because like I said before, I had a very clear idea about what I thought my life was going to look like. And I just didn't think past that. And going through this whole journey, and confronting these like life challenges, it's opened up my mind and awareness to so much more than I would have imagined, both internally and externally. Both internally in the sense of me understanding myself better, but also providing external experiences that I couldn't have anticipated. Like, if you were to tell me some years ago that I would be posting myself online and putting myself out to people in that way, I would have been like, there's no way, because I was not that guy. I was not that like social media guy. I was not posting a lot. I was not trying to be seen in that way. They made me uncomfortable. But through wellness, and particularly through food, it's provided a really organic way for me to present myself in a way that feels authentic. And it's just been really gratifying in that way. So I've been really grateful for the journey altogether.
There was a time when I used to parent out of stress and emotion, until one day I heard my father's voice coming through mine. Using my training as a board-certified neurolinguistics programming expert, I broke that cycle, and I'd love to show you how to do the same. I'm Lisane Basquiat. Join me for Your Past is Your Present. It's a virtual workshop happening on March 1st. Step into your best self by healing the legacy behind and before you. Register at shapingfreedom.com. Space is limited. Reclaim your future today. So, what would you say to someone who may be in a position where, no matter the age, because that happens a lot to people, with people, right? Yeah. You're on your way down a road, you're expecting to go north, and somehow or another something happens, and the next thing you know, you're, on the other side of the country. Yeah. So what, if you can slow it down enough for that, what suggestions do you have or advice do you have for someone who might be in that place where they wind up having to be confronted with their identity?
Yeah. For one, it's like you kind of have to look it in the face and just like take it one step at a time, because it's happening, like it's present, it's in front of you,
whether you're there or not.
You know, so it's like there's this like tangible aspect to it, to where like you can't get around it. So the only way to know is to continue to move forward one step at a time and see where it takes you. And the thing I've come to understand is that things, everybody says things happen for a reason, or all that kind of stuff, that cliche, but I think it's cliche for a reason as well, because if things were meant to be different, they would. The way that life is and the way the universe, like the energy works, things are because it's the way they're meant to be. Doesn't mean we don't have agency, but at large, things are moving at their own rate, their own pace. It's that life energy that flows through every system. So if it's happening, that means that it's happening for something, and you just gotta tune in enough to where you can pick up what it's trying to tell you, or where it's trying to push you, and how you might be able to gather some information out of it, some more perspective from it, no matter the difficulty level. So that's what I would encourage if someone's at that point, for sure.
And if you had to look back at yourself in those moments of decision, is there anything that you would tell yourself?
I mean, for me, I feel like despite everything that has happened, I feel like I've always been a pretty intuitive person, whether I've been aware of it or not. And looking back, I've understood some of my past decisions as operating from that space. But so there's that part, and then there's like the other part, the mental part, where I get into my overthinking brain and get really overwhelmed and stressed. So I would just speak to that part of myself and just let myself know that everything's going to turn out fine, and it's going to be better than you think. It's not going to look how you think, but you're going to be just as happy, if not more. So that's also a piece of advice to others who are in that space and who might be feeling uncertain. Yeah. You just don't know what's on the other side. And if you have no choice but to go through it, then there's something for you on it.
I always say that if you walk, the path's going to be built under your feet.
Yeah.
But you got to be walking.
Yes.
Right.
And that is difficult to hear in those moments, because you're just thinking about, well, I have this idea about what I think should be happening, or what I want to be happening, but it's not happening. I still deal with that. But you always got to come back to just like, if there's nothing else I can do, if you know you're doing everything you can, then you just have to move one step at a time, and the path will form, for sure. Yeah.
Why do you refer to your body as a temple?
Because I feel like there's no other way to describe it. When you think about all the processes that are happening within us in this very moment, we're not actively doing that. It's something that was built and constructed for us to inhabit. And I think that's pretty amazing when I think about it all the time. So why not do your part in co-creating with that, and trying to optimize it, and learning that and understanding it for yourself. And then you get real time feedback. You get real world results. Like, you get to feel how much better it is, to treat your body in one way versus another. So I just feel like there's no other way to look at it. That's the way I've come to understand it. And it's like, once you feel it or you see it, you can't unsee it. You can't unfeel it. So I think that's the only way to describe it, really.
What is your vision for this level or this iteration of, or this chapter of your life? Like, what's your vision? What do you want to see for yourself and from yourself?
Well, I feel like I've reached a point in my life where I've achieved a lot of what I was setting out to do in the early stages of all of this, of being a creator, building a platform, following my health journey. I've done a lot of the things that I've wanted to do, and as much as I had goals of what I wanted to do, there was a lot that happened that I didn't expect that were
Mm-hmm.
just as fruitful. And now that I'm in this space, my goals are not super fixed because I'm aware of you know the spontaneity and what can present itself that I can't see. So I don't want to like bog myself down with, oh, I have to be doing this by this time. And
Mm-hmm.
if that's not happening, then it's a failure, because I've lived in that mindset before. And that's also another like stressor
Mm-hmm.
when other things are happening that are just as beautiful, but just don't show up in the way that you expect. So at this point in my life, I do have some fixed goals for sure, but I really just want to stay open. I really just want to keep walking like one step at a time, stay consistent, and like see what life has to offer.
Yeah.
And as long as I feel I'm in alignment, as long as I see that feedback, then I know I'm moving in the right direction, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah. And I don't mean like fixed goals, like I
Right.
want to have, whatever,
Right.
your 10 things that you want to accomplish this year. I mean more about like your vision, like what, because you're contributing
Mm-hmm.
and you're in service
Yeah.
and in support of people. So what is it that you're like, what do you want to see through this work that you're doing? So again, not about like, well, I want to, not
Mm-hmm.
your bottom line revenue goals or any
Right.
of that
Right. Right.
stuff, but like what is your vision? What would you like to see? You're doing this incredible work. You're tapping into food. Plant-based food is a way of helping people
Mm-hmm.
to live in a healthier way if they choose
Yeah.
to do that. You're laying out for people, and please get his book, where you're laying out rituals and things that people can do to help them to be more centered and to be more aware.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing that for something.
Right. I just really want to see more people like tap in. Like I really want to see more people like take upon themselves that ownership of how they want to feel. I want to continue to expand the platform to where it could reach, as many people as it needs to via different mediums, whether that's social media, whether that's television, whether that's more books.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get my message out. I want to share my experience. And I feel like that's a part of why I've enjoyed it so much too, because I feel it's like a shared experience.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I'm doing stuff for me, like I hear feedback from people. I see what other creators and other people who live the lifestyle are doing, and that informs me. And then that in turn informs the people who may follow me or like what I have to say. So I feel like it's all connected. So I
Mm-hmm.
just want to like continue to expand my platform so that I can inform as many people as that needs to hear it, and that it can impact.
And in these conversations that you're having with followers and feedback, and like what are you hearing that people need and want?
I mean, because obviously my entry point to all this was like through food.
Mm-hmm.
So in me presenting the food that I make, people are able to try them. I provide all the recipes for people to like actually have it and for them to try it for themselves. And when I hear that people have tried it for themselves, have made it, they send pictures, they tag me in all their posts, and I think that's really gratifying to see. They feel so excited that they were able to make something that they saw and liked, and that is good and good for them, for themselves. And that inspires like the next wave of decisions that they make. They know that, oh, I made this one dish that made me feel really good and tasted really good. What else can I do? Or what other restaurants are in the area? Or what other groceries can I get that can make me feel better? Or it could just spill over to any other sector of life that they've been looking to make a change in.
Mm-hmm.
And food is like a low hanging fruit, if you will, to express that within yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really gratifying to me, to hear that somebody has tried a recipe and then it's inspired them to do more, or to follow, or to keep following that curiosity. And who knows how that plays out down the line, but to know that they've taken something away from that on that level, even if it's small, like I think that's what lands and resonates with me the most. That's what I feel the best about.
I know I was on your page and I was hungry while I was on your page, and I was like, wow, like, and I saw tostones and I was like, oh, like, okay,
Yes.
okay, I saw something about like you did like a tostones waffle kind of thing with trumpet mushrooms or something, and I was like, wow, okay, this is good. This is good. This is helpful, right? Especially at a time where just recently, within the last couple of weeks, finally, this country has shared that you don't want to be eating food with a bunch of preservatives in it.
Right.
Finally.
Shocker.
Hey, right?
Right.
And it's just in the last year or so that this country decided that we're going to also say that you don't want all this red coloring in food because of the damage that it does to the population. And so whether a person is plant-based or not, what I think is so intriguing and helpful about the work that you're doing and kind of the undercurrent message is pay attention to what you're putting into your body in all ways.
Exactly.
Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Pay attention.
Literally everything. Yeah, it's not just the food. I mean, from like, what are you seeing on your phone when you're scrolling? Are you like you're seeing news, you think you're being informed, which is true to an extent, but then also how does it make you feel? Like your nervous system is being hijacked.
That's right.
Because you're seeing all these things that you're stressed about, or you're watching TV that doesn't make you feel good, or that, doesn't make you feel good about yourself or anything like that. So I mean, it could be from people around you, who, people who are draining your energy, people who don't contribute anything positive to your life and don't make you feel good when you're around them, but you feel you have to out of obligation or whatever, what have you. So it's really all encompassing, and it just paying attention to even one of those sectors could just lighten you up. It could take a weight off your shoulders and just free your bandwidth up to make other decisions. So
it makes a world of difference. I mean, even if you look at your feed, and I do not doom scroll, but every once in a while I'm like, oh, okay, and like within the span of 5 minutes, I can see tostones and a dog and some horrible thing and some terrible thing and someone like mocking somebody, or, and it's like we're consuming that in the same way that we're consuming anything else. We're taking it in. Yeah.
And it's like, you're like microdosing these like levels of stress, even though
horrific.
Like stressful is like an understatement. I mean, like to see something like that and then see like a funny dog video, you're just like,
and what your brain has to do, and the way that you have to program your brain to normalize the consumption of the horrific with the cute, with the funny, with the unhealthy.
So I mean, you talk about like dysregulation, and and we're even, when we're looking at our phones and stuff, that's usually a time where we're like at ease and like trying to take a breath from the day or something.
Thank you for reminding, because I saw that in your book and I wanted to ask you about that. So you just pull that question right out of me.
I mean,
talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's super underrated, because we get on our phones and scroll like first thing in the morning when we're laying in bed.
State.
Or right before we go to sleep, or on a break from work or something like that. This is a time where we're supposed to, like, we're getting away from stuff that we're obligated to do on a day, and then we're seeing all these things that are like hijacking our nervous system.
That's right.
So it actually has a deeper impact because like you're disarmed in a way.
That's right.
So it can like seep more into the subconscious, it can seep more into like your energetic body. So it's just like, I feel like, being mindful about what it is you're seeing, who you're following, like what you want to be seeing, how you want to feel when you get on your phone. That really matters. That was a huge one for me. That was one of like the first, before the food, I started like fine tuning my social media because I realized this is not contributing like to how I want to be feeling. And when how I wanted to feel became the most important thing, that's when all these, markers started going off in my head and all these flags were being raised. When I'm scrolling, I'm like, I don't really want to see this, so I'm going to unfollow. And that's just that, or I don't want to watch this show, or I don't want to be around these people, so I'm gonna like chill, even if it means I'm being by myself. You know, you also can't be afraid to like separate yourself in that way,
That's right.
because when you know, if you are going down a path that's a little less conventional, there will be times where you know you feel like you're doing it by yourself, and sometimes you will be, but it has to matter. Like your why has to matter more. You have to. It has to matter more that you want to feel better. It has to matter more that you know how this impacts you. So it's more beneficial for you to like be by yourself, and that has to be the most important thing. So
It's like your be that's the reason why those first years of a human's life are so important, because they're disarmed. Children are completely disarmed. So
yeah,
they're taking in that relaxed state, they're taking in everything
yeah,
that's happening around them. We all did.
yeah,
That's really what hypnosis is about, right? It's like you get yourself into this totally relaxed, receptive
yeah.
state.
Receptive is the word, because you can't be
And
hypnotized if you're not receptive. If you're
exactly,
like, I'm not going to be hypnotized, then you won't
then
be.
you can't be.
But it's not until you relax and disarm and say and like surrender to the experience
Whatever
and
the
say,
thing
yeah,
is.
whatever it is, and say like, okay, I'm open to what happens in this field, that is able to land and absorb and resonate. So receptivity is definitely the key word there.
And being mindful and aware of that process.
Yeah.
Because when you're not mindful and aware of that process, you're taking things in and you dull yourself to the point of not even feeling. So I love that you mentioned that feeling
Yeah.
was one of the first kind of steps, if you had to break it down, right? Was one of the first steps for you.
Yeah.
It's like paying attention to what you feel and
Yeah.
why.
You got to find that sweet spot between that receptivity and like a level of like vigilance, because I know I'm open and you know at some point in this process, but then something comes in. I don't want that. I'll take that. Like I'll leave that and take the rest. So you gotta. It is definitely a balancing act, and it's a practice. It's like a skill set. You have to exercise that muscle. But to start being more receptive is definitely the way in, I would say.
Yeah. And also paying attention.
Yes.
Like if you find yourself, and I think the other thing about culture and society, or this society and this chapter in our world history, is that we do a lot of pointing. I don't like being on this platform because they're talking about that and they're talking
Yeah.
about this. Well, guess what? You are your own algorithm.
Yeah.
Release it.
Yeah. You have the
If
power.
you feel like shit, release it.
Yeah.
If you walk into a room, or if you're in your friend group, or if you're in, doing a job,
Yeah.
and you feel in your body that it's not right for you, that is our spirit doing the job
Yeah.
that it's intended to do.
Yeah. Divert its energy somewhere else.
Yeah.
Put your attention somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always make this analogy for like how people operate in the world as like you go to a restaurant, you sit down with a group of people, or you're in the restaurant with a bunch of other people. You order one thing off the menu, you order the salad, somebody orders the pasta, and you're upset with them because they ordered the pasta. You're like, why did you order the salad?
Has nothing to do with
yeah,
you.
but meanwhile you have your own experience there that you can be
Exactly.
paying attention to. It has nothing to do with what they want. That's what they want to create. So that's fine, and let them create that. But
Yeah.
you can't be so concerned with somebody else that it takes away from your own life, and then you spend the whole experience tending to that instead of yourself.
And then you get lost in the shuffle, and then you wonder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What did you have to? So I asked you the question before, but I'm asking you now with a different intent. Or with the context of the conversation that we've had since then, what did you, or what do you find yourself having to release on an ongoing basis? Like, I know those decisions are hard sometimes, because sometimes you're like, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this. And you're
Yeah.
like, wow, now I'm by myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is sometimes okay.
Yeah.
Right? What is that experience like, that experience of releasing? And how have you made it okay for you? Like how have you brought yourself to peace with the things that you've chosen to release?
I mean, it just starts with the understanding that I know I can't control everything as as many ways as I might see something going, like how I see something going. there are so many factors behind just what I want to happen that contribute to said result,
Mm-hmm.
and factors that I'm not even aware of. So it's, from a logical sense, it's like it's impossible for me to be hung up on something that I can't control anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
our emotions and our mind, play different tapes. So we have to monitor those as well. But really, it's just a matter of like acknowledging those feelings that, yeah, I would like this to be different, or this is what I want to see happen. And that's fine. But then I also know I can't control it. So what can I do? Shift to what you can control, and literally let the rest play out. Even though that tape in your mind is poking at you and saying, well, but what about this? What about this? We need to change this. We want this to be happening. It's really it really is a matter of discipline and just like staying on the path, like sticking to a plan and letting it take shape, because you don't know, you could wake up tomorrow and another circumstance could present itself that is taking you in the direction you want. But if you're not receptive, if you're too hung up on your own story, you might miss it, or you might do it and not be in the right headspace or energy space, and it doesn't have the maximal impact.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is a balancing act, so to speak. But I think that's the best way that like I've learned to navigate it. And even though it is difficult and it presents itself in new ways all the time, so it's just a matter of like staying vigilant in that sense and just always monitoring how you're feeling through each circumstance.
We talk a lot about the legacy that we want to leave, but what about the one that we're living in right now? I'm Lisane Basquiat. I'm a board-certified NLP expert and a legacy healing strategist. I created Shaping Freedom to help our community move from autopilot to authority. Whether it's through my podcast, the Lounging with Lisane meditations, or our signature candles and journals, I provide the elite tools that you need to heal and to lead your family more effectively. Own your evolution. Visit shapingfreedom.com. That's shapingfreedom.com. So I know you create content and you refer to yourself as someone who's creating content. What do you consider yourself?
What I consider myself, I mean, I always use the label creator because I just feel like that resonates the most, because that's literally what it is in essence. And like in practice, you're just creating, and that feels good to me because the creative process is like so intertwined with like your nervous system and your energetic body and all these sort of things. So
In what way?
in the sense that the channel has to be clear so that you can create. So you have to have discernment about what you're taking in and what you're doing and what you're surrounding yourself with, because that impacts how you show up and what you put out. And the creative process is like, it's coming from that intangible place. So tapping more into that and staying in tune with that is how I best like, it's how I create the best things, I feel. So the label creator, I just feel like, is the best way to describe, because it's, like I said, in essence and in practice, it is what we're doing, and that's just what feels the best.
Yeah. Do you get how powerful your voice is?
I mean, I feel like I've done well enough to trust my voice and that it will land with people in the way it should or can or will. But it is still kind of hard to grasp like how much of an impact it has. I mean, like hundreds of thousands of people who chose to like follow my accounts and stuff like that's still sort of weird for me to think about, because I can't like fathom that many people wanting to like participate with what I have going on. So,
And hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, because to me, this is just all like, I would be doing this anyway. If I would still be doing deep dives on health, I would still be cooking a bunch. I would still be finding ways to optimize my lifestyle if it weren't for the platform. So to know that people are just as interested in it as I am and want to see what I have to say and do along that journey is like really yeah, it's just really gratifying and it feels good. But it's also hard to comprehend too. So
Yeah. And I don't mean, sometimes it's like when you put your mind too much on the enormity of things, it like takes you in a different place.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm thinking about is the message that you have, the power in the message that you have. And I guess that's my way of saying you have a really powerful message.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And a unique perspective and a way of seeing the world and distilling it down into bite size, distilling down the human experience, the quality of human experience into bite-sized chunks that a person can actually apply to their own lives. And that's a very powerful position to have, because it could be just about great looking food, great tasting food, right? Or it could be just about your thoughts and beliefs around the conscious mind and unconscious mind and being more conscious and connected. But the way that you've pulled those things together into lifestyle as a role, as a model for people, is a very powerful place to be, in a very powerful position to have. Outside of followers, like not that part of it, but just that voice that is so needed in a world where people are so focused, where some people are so focused in just trying to outrun life, just move real fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Performative.
Yeah, all that. I mean, I hadn't thought about it that way before. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
And it does, I like, it always lands with me more when I hear feedback from people, because, yes, I create, and yes, I have topics and things that I talk about and all these things, but one thing that doesn't get talked about a lot is like when you're a creator, when you're a content creator, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're doing these things, like you're reaching a lot of people, but the process itself is like pretty like lonely, for lack of a better word. Like I'm in my own world, in my own space, in a vacuum, like creating these things, hoping that they impact a certain way. So when I do hear it from other people, when I do get people that DM me saying how positively impacted they are by something that I've done, like that's when I get to understand, like, oh, okay, this is working, and that reinforces the drive to like keep going. So thank you for that.
Do you ever burn out? Or do you ever feel like maybe you're heading toward like creator burnout?
Yeah, it's happened a couple times. I'm actually kind of in the thick of that right now, to be honest. Over the last few weeks, it's just been like a little less inspired, a little less motivated. And I really try to override that a lot of the times. I think it's the athlete in me, that just when you get tired, like you don't get tired. You just keep going, and because we have to win, that sort of thing. So that kind of takes over at times, but it'll always build up, and it gets to a point where there'll be nothing left. And I sort of hit that wall like recently. So now I'm kind of just giving myself the time to like, to just recover a bit, like creatively and like energetically in that way. But it does happen. It definitely does happen. When you have to be so focused on output all the time. It's one thing to have the idea, but then obviously to film it, to edit it, to put it out, to look at the performance, and to have to do it again. It can be a lot. So I've had burnout a few times, and like existential dread about what it is to create in this type of way. But I just do my best to stay consistent, and when I am feeling those things, just honor it, even though it feels weird to like stop and like sit down for a bit. So,
but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, right? As a creator from the perspective of content, and on digital platforms, you're an entrepreneur. You're also an artist, because you're creating.
Yeah.
You're creating something for the emotional, mental consumption of other people. And so, and it's also a very new profession.
Right.
It's a very new thing, right? That those who are doing it are actually creating while you're creating
Yeah,
content.
we're like learning in real time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then this is also on the heels of a 5-year cycle that this world has been in, or at least, I'm referring to this country specifically, that started with the pandemic, right? That also contributed to isolation. And it's like you're doing this work that's in many ways one to many, which means you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So it's perfectly understandable that there would be those moments of discomfort with it, or, feeling burnt out, or feeling like I don't have anything, like how many more,
Yeah. No, yeah, it
I
is
don't
crazy.
feel like creating the thing.
Yeah. Being the creator, like specific to content, is like, you are, you're the writer, you're the producer, you're the director,
You're the editor, you're figuring it all out.
You're doing costume, you're
and
scouting
you're the
locations.
CEO. Yeah, you're doing
it's
all
like,
of it.
We're wearing all the hats
That's
at
right.
once.
Like any other entrepreneur.
Yeah. So that kind of gets lost on me at times, but when I have realized it, or when I'm trying to expand and I think about what's actually feasible, it's like, oh, okay, well, I have to do, like, this is a lot to do, and I'm just one person, so that can get overwhelming for sure. But I still do really like it, having total like agency and autonomy over what I am putting out. But
of course,
it definitely comes with its challenges.
Of course. Last year we with Shaping Freedom, and the year before we dove a lot into creative burnout, right? Because it's a very new profession for people. It's a new thing. It's a pioneering thing, and it's very different from the professions that were deemed acceptable or kind of like mainstream before. And so for those of you who were doing it, my son is a content creator, by the way. And it's an interesting kind of thing, because you have this opportunity to create your own life and do your own thing, and live by your own rules, and be an entrepreneur, and you can do anything. You can write a book. You can, speak. There's all kinds of things that you can do. And the day-to-day can be, as you're kind of going from one level to the next, can be pretty lonely. And so one of the things that I am very committed to and interested in is helping creators to build community with each other, because it's such an isolating thing that you're doing.
It's a trip to like meet other creators and like chop it up with them, because, and it's just like so refreshing. And
you do that? Do you have a community of people who are doing the same thing?
I know of people. I wouldn't say I like have a community of people who like all do the same thing as me, and like we all are all like collaborating and sharing. I would love to have that. I would love to like have more avenues to like create that, for sure. But I meet people, I collaborate with people from time to time, for sure, and like it is very refreshing, because they understand all the things it is to live that life, because being a creator, you're always explaining to people what it is, and
it's like, what do you do? I'm a creator. What does that mean?
Or they think it's like just really easy, or they just think you're just messing around, or like they don't understand what all goes into it, and all these things. So it is always very refreshing to like meet other people who get it. So yeah, it makes a big difference.
We're gonna build some community.
Let's do it.
We're gonna build, because I try to pay attention to what crosses my path. And when the same thing crosses my path a few times, the same topic crosses my path a few times, I take that as, oh, okay, I pay attention. Right? And this conversation has happened several times of late, even though we were focused on like creatives before. And I really do want to support and create community for creators, because it is a profession, a real profession, that there's no playbook for.
Yeah, totally.
You're all creating it.
Yeah.
You're all doing it yourselves, right? And they're really, I believe it's here. This is the thing. It is here. And the world is very different. It's not as easy to just like, not everybody wants to go into, the other professions. And so I think that there needs to be space and community and conversations that speak to and create space for those folks who are doing this work to chop it up with each other.
Yeah, I think it's important for sure.
And help each other to work through burnout.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
And to
community.
collaborate.
Yeah, that's always like the fun part. You always get to collaborate with people. You get to see how other people's processes work.
Yeah.
That can inform how you create moving forward. I mean, yeah, I mean, community in general, in any form of life, and any no matter what you do, like it's important. So
That's right.
I think it'd be great to build that for sure.
Yeah. More to come on that, because I don't know where that came from, but we
Okay.
can do something with it
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your book.
Book is titled the name of my platform, Tapped in Wellness, and it's really what I wish I had when I was starting. That's what I was thinking about when I was writing it and putting it together. Is like if back in college I was embarking on this journey, like what would I have wanted to hear or see or read? How would I want this all put into context to make it digestible and like understandable, and inspiring and evoke enough curiosity? So it's kind of like half lifestyle guide, like what I wish I would have had when I started, and then like half cookbook, you know. So I have all the practices, the backstory, all the lore that went into where I am today and stuff that I've implemented, as well as stuff that you can try on the other side of it. Delicious recipes, easy recipes, some of my favorites, stuff that I make all the time. So that's really what I want to put into it, and I'm just really grateful that it's out there now and people are enjoying it. And I think if you're looking to make any sort of new decision on any sector of your lifestyle, like this would be a good way to just broach the conversation, introduce the topics, and then have some stuff to try in the meantime, and then just find what works for you and go down your own path. So I think that's sort of what I want people to take away from it.
Okay. Repeat the name of the book.
It's Tapped in Wellness. There's a subtitle. To be honest,
The subtitle is what I was trying to get you to do.
I forget the subtitle if I'm honest, because the publishers had a play in that, and they, they wanted more context. So I forget the subtitle.
Tapped in Wellness, and the word performance is in there.
Tapped in Wellness on all the platforms.
Just read the book.
That's where you're gonna find the book anyway.
Yeah,
so
and it's very well written. It's really, it's like plain talk, plain conversation, and incredibly powerful practices and suggestions for people. And that may be something that is intuitive to you and that comes naturally to you, but it doesn't for a lot of people. And so if you are listening and if you are looking for some support with how you can help your whole life, including a cookbook, with some recipes and things, pick up the book. Pick up the book.
Absolutely. Try it out. Just see what you think.
Yeah.
Hopefully you like it.
Yeah. How can we support you?
Just tap into all the platforms online. I mean, Tapped in Wellness on all platforms. Get the book and just keep interacting, keep engaging. Follow your own path of curiosity. Tell me how that's all going for you. That's only going to fuel my efforts to help, bring more of this mentality to everybody. So that's the best way.
Thank you. And I can't let you leave without you sharing what you're going to do. Like how do you work your way out of burnout?
To be honest, I just have to give myself the space. I have to sort of take myself out of trying to create or thinking about what the next thing is going to be. I kind of just have to let the process play out. Like when it really hit me was probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And at first I was resisting it, and I'm like, I'll just give myself a couple of days, and I'll just a couple more days, whatever. And it's almost 2 weeks in. So I have to let the process complete, because things are seasonal, things are cyclical. So I have to let this complete. I can't sort of rush
through it or try to outrun it.
Yeah. But I've noticed in the last few days that sort of spark has been coming back a bit. So it's the light starting to flicker again. So, to anybody else who's maybe dealing with burnout, just let yourself go through that. Like, you have to let it happen, because if you push through, you know, you may not be happy with what you're creating. You may not feel the best when you're creating it. So just let the process complete. Like, your body knows what to do. And once you're inspired again, you know exactly what that feels like. You'll be able to respond to it. So
That's right. I
I'm
think
doing my
sometimes
best.
we get afraid when we burn out, but the thing where we're heading towards burnout, but the thing is that you're regenerating,
Yeah.
right? So it really is a conversation that you're in with yourself,
Yeah.
and you'll know why. But when you ignore it or attempt to ignore it, that's when you run into problems, and that's when you get, you know, you go all the way
Yeah.
through the stages of burnout. But you know, giving yourself a minute
Yeah.
is wise.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming to chit chat with me. I really appreciate it. This has been
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Yes, I really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah. So, for those of you who are listening, thank you as always. And I encourage you to pick up Malcolm's book, and also to think about for yourself, like, think about how you feel, where you feel that, and what your life is trying to tell you about your next step. And you don't always know what that next step is. And sometimes you're in that pause. And that's okay. That's okay. Because what you do know about yourself is that you will come out on the other side. And giving yourself the opportunity to allow your body, your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual to catch up with itself, that's the way you refuel for the next chapter. So until next time, be well. Thank you so much for listening.